Live. All right. Hey there. Hey there. What do you say there, world? Welcome to another incredible episode of the Races Recap. Amazing Race Season 33, Episode 6. It's about to go down. In the corner, I have Episode 5. I need to fix that. But I'm now testing something right now. I'm trying to broadcast to YouTube and to Facebook at the same time. You aren't live? What do you mean? Don't say that.
We're live on YouTube.
Okay. I hate that when people do that stuff. All right. So they said we'd be live on Facebook. Okay. And I'm trying to see if we'd be live on Facebook as well. Not sure if it's working. If there's any connection problems where we're stuttering or stammering, please let us know. If this works, that's cool. We'll be able to do it every week. If not, then Facebook can go eat it. And I'll just upload it on Facebook weekly afterwards. Don't know how to even check on Facebook right now, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, welcome to another incredible episode. And for those of you who don't know, we do the audio version on any and all of your favorite... All right, we are live. I can see it. Perfect. Awesome. On all of your favorite podcasting networks. Arun and Natalia were going to be here, but they asked CBS, and when you ask CBS wants a chaperone, and no chaperone's going to be working this late at night. So that's what happens. So they couldn't be here. But we can answer any of your questions that you have, and we'll get started. Jen might be joining us late. She's running late from work and then has to deal with the kiddos, etc., etc. So how are you guys feeling?
I'm happy to be back this week. Sorry I couldn't be here last week.
It's great to have you. It's always great to have you.
I missed you, baby girr.
Especially if...
Oh my goodness.
At least we had Jen to keep us a little bit in line. But I always love having you, James Earl. You definitely bring something different than anybody else on the show for sure. Me and Cavino bring similar styles, except he hates love. All right,
James Earl. Time out. Did you, James Earl? Did you catch last week's episode by chance? You're gonna have to brush up because there was a lot of emotion running around. No, Justin, of course, was balling again, and even Cavino had a couple of moments there. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it was a great episode. I hate that I missed that recap. It was a phenomenal episode. My seal clap. Can I tell my seal clap for last week's episode?
Sure, go for it.
100% when after Tim jumps off, didn't even hesitate. Like she had no fear within her soul. You could see it. Like she did not want to do it, but she did it. And then Penn is up top, just cheering for her, crying for her, like, oh my God, like that just made me so freaking happy.
Yeah.
You definitely have to listen to last week's recap. There's a lot on it.
Sorry, I'm dealing with technical issues because that's how things go in my world. CBS, yes. It's a classic CBS throwing us the Ryan and Dusty red herring. Well, I don't know if it was just a red herring. They literally came back and they did what they were supposed to do. Like they switched tasks. It was 62 minutes, which we'll get to. There we go. 62 minutes is before they actually switched tasks. Are you kidding me? 62 minutes.
It's a lot of time. It's a lot of time.
All right,
I will say, watching it now where they release them in groups and they release them not about the time you got to the mat, but like it's set times, it feels like a very different race with a lot of different kind of expectation and rules. Like I feel like you have to almost play it a little differently.
Yes, it's definitely a different mindset.
I like it.
I'm not a big fan of it. I will say I would have loved it on my season because I would not have gotten eliminated in Audra. You bump that time from an hour down to 15, 30 minutes, we're golden.
That is absolutely true. I definitely believe that you would have not gotten eliminated. All right, Jen's coming in, so we're going to have to do a quick little hey there and a little what do you say there.
I love her outfit.
Look
that
at
is just
that hat.
I just got it.
It's a phenomenal outfit.
Oh, yeah. Nobody could see it yet.
James Earl can.
That's all that matters. James Earl got it. All right.
I love that hat. You look like a Mormon or whatever they are. No, what are the ones in Pennsylvania?
No, I think she looks like a fashion
Amish?
cowboy.
Amish,
A fashion cowboy.
a fashion cowboy.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Is it a thank you or is it like a F you? Is that like
No, that was not shade.
No.
Thank you.
No, I don't think it was shade at all. You have better style than we do, that's for sure. Or at least me and Cavino. I can't speak for the doctor. Doctor.
I mean, I'm in a sweatshirt right now, so I can't say too much.
Yeah, I've never seen you get all dolled up except that one time at the finale, and you were definitely looking dapper. But other than that, you're in doctor scrubs or just like really comfy stuff. But Jen, the hat is on point. I definitely got to give you props.
Thank you very much.
You know me, I love my hats.
Yeah, it was a splurge. I have to wear it a lot, so we're starting with tonight.
The large barn.
Uh-oh. Yeah, we're gonna do one more of these here, and we're gonna add another James Earl in here. Sorry, guys, we got to do this on the fly. I will have a better one next week. Well, actually, this will be set up for next week anyway, so we'll see how that goes. There we go.
Seriously though, Jen looks very cute with the hat now. Looking at it.
What do you mean now? Looking at it like you were lying before?
Joey had to row with it. I immediately recognized it.
I'm sorry, I don't have the fashion sense of somebody wearing an Abercrombie and Fitch sweatshirt.
I'm telling you, I'm comfy. Listen, I work real hard at work, so when I get home, PJs go on.
Hell yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm always in the same stuff anyway. That's kind of how I roll. Who cares? Nobody cares what I dress like. All right, so Jen, everything good with you?
Everything's good, yeah.
All right, cool. All right, first impressions, overall episode, everybody good?
Yeah, I'm just the thing that like James Earl just touched on it. That starting at the same time, I feel as though they should, whoever comes in first should get some sort of a lead, whether it's just a few minutes. Like again, like on a couple of our seasons, they, when you started out, it was a 5-minute, 10-minute and increments, just something.
But even that is a huge difference between, because Arun and Natalia on Last Lead, they were hours, and hours behind. So you crunch that down to 30 minutes. That's huge.
Well, that's exactly why they're still in the race.
I think that it's fine. The staggering is fine. Like in recent years of the race, everyone is getting off of the plane, being held at the doors of the airport, and then all being released at the same time. So this is actually staggering it more than in recent years since my season, at least.
But I agree with you, Jen, for when you're going to different countries, it doesn't make a difference. But if it's one that is just like a plane or a train or in the same city, it's huge difference.
As far, you mean like staggering, like each single person is staggered?
Well, like for example, in my season, the lead Mom and I got eliminated on, it was in the same lead as the previous, and we were an hour behind everyone else. We lost by 4 and 7 minutes. If you would crunch that down, it's a huge difference. Now, when you're flying somewhere, 100% agree with you.
I'm a proponent of people being able to maintain their lead. I'm just saying that in recent seasons, it hasn't been a thing at all.
Definitely at the airports, but
something.
But because, and I agree with you too, Jen, but sometimes like when Arun and Natalia or Christy and Jen, they're starting an hour and a half when they're supposed to be, they might not even get on that plane. That was the big difference. And like James Earl said, and then it's perfect that you said it like that, is when there's no plane involved, when you got to catch a train or you're self-driving somewhere, instead of, someone I left, I got on the mat a half hour before you, but now we're standing next to each other tearing the envelope. I get why they're doing it. Like Justin said, I don't agree with it, but, and I think that they were probably being overly safe. And which
I'm fine with. It just makes a very different race. I feel like you have to almost change how you race.
Arun and Natalia probably would have been eliminated this week if they kept it the way that we are used to.
It's fair.
Yeah. So what did you think about, all right, let's get started. The leg starts and we are at a little bit of luxury. You see the lap of luxury for these people. I have a photo of what the plane looks like. What do you guys think of this plane and the fact that they could talk to each other, the fact that they don't know what cities they're going to? I know we touched on it a little bit last week. Does that really affect things majorly, or is that just like a minor thing?
My question is, do you really think they could talk to each other? Do you think they iced them once the cameras went down?
I heard this is the time that they actually got to talk to each other. They
That's
iced.
kind of awesome, man.
On my season, we took a charter from where the hell were we? Italy to somewhere in Italy, and then we took a ferry. But we got to, and it was a charter like that. It was beautiful. It was like being in first class, and everyone got to talk, move around, go to the bathroom, all that stuff. And they had like little candies and stuff. It was great.
I don't think we were ever not allowed to talk to teams on the planes. What I will say is that I'm sure not every team did this, but if you are smart, you will use the other people on the plane, the flight attendants, the passengers you're sitting next to, and you will extract information out of them. So in some ways, like, this looks really nice and plush and luxury, but in some ways I think that it actually may end up limiting some of their access to knowledge and information.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
I think
Very much agreed.
that would take a bunch of the advantages that I felt that me and Diana had on the race. Because when I'm looking on the plane and most of the teams are sleeping, and Diana's asleep because I told her to sleep, I'm sitting there doing research. I'm asking people like, okay, what's the best sports in town? What's the biggest places, the Coliseums? Like, I'm asking all sorts of questions and especially to the flight attendants, because they usually get layovers in these cities. And I'm like, okay, what are the biggest things that you want to see? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, what are they known for? What is the foods that they eat? And I'm getting all of this stuff. And it was a huge advantage for us when we went to San Antonio de Areco, and the crew had quotes, the Cathedral of Polo, and then you see people getting in taxis wanting to go to a cathedral. Well, the Cathedral of Polo, I knew because I studied on the plane that I wanted to go to the biggest polo stadium, which was their Yankee Stadium, because polo is huge there, and we went straight there. I went into the cabin, I told them exactly where to go, and every other team goes in there and says, "Well, Cathedral of Polo, they're polo," like, and it was just a huge advantage, and I think that for the smarter teams like Kim and Penn, it was a setback for them, and it helps like the weaker brain teams like Ryan and Dusty.
Yeah.
What do you think about Kim's revelation that she needs to have more fun? Like, where did that come from? I thought, we thought she was doing great.
I did too. I would never have thought she was not chill.
She suffers from depression and anxiety, so she's very open about that, and she has to know what's going on and what's going to happen before it happens. Otherwise, she gets this anxiety about her, which is why you see her stressing in the car a lot, and she has this anxiety issue. So that was her thing, and part of it was just letting go. And she was like, and the only way for me to let go is to pretend I was somebody else. So that was her, like, pretending to be somebody else. So she didn't feel like she had to be this Kim, this stress bucket.
I will say, since that is her trigger, the fact that she has been doing so well in the race is really impressive, because that trigger is just the race, right? Like, you never know what you're about to do until you rip the clue open and it tells you.
That definitely explains her immersion into what she's doing and where they're going and everything else.
Right.
It's not her
way to manage it.
Yes.
To try to like know as much as she can and like
get as much control over the situation, right?
And on their podcast, she talked about like the bungee jump really like was still affecting her, and that was like part of what she was like, I need to just let that go and become this new Kim, man, because she was still being affected by what happened on that bungee jump. Even though she powered through it, her brain was still like in this like stress panicky mode, and I have a lot of respect for them. And obviously, I'm a big fan because she's the research queen this season, and you'll see again how it comes into play. All right, let's get into it. Teams must take route info. Teams must take a marked van to the Belvedere del Corte, where they would find the next clue and a canister of milk. Now, teams self-drive, no self-drive here because it was too dangerous. There was literally roads that were smaller than the cars. Like the cars' wheels were the same size as the roads, but the actual cars were like hanging off some of the roads. That's how narrow these roads were. And there's a hill on one side. If you fall, you're dead. And then the other side is like mountain.
They didn't show that.
Yeah. Well, the camera guy couldn't get the camera out the window. That's how close they were. He couldn't get the camera out of the window. So that's why there was no self-drive on this island, because it was just too dangerous for them. And that was a huge advantage for Arun and Natalia, because that's obviously their biggest weakness. Dusty in the cab, super confident, talking mad junk, knows all about cheeses, and a lot of teams would say he's cocky, but I could say at this point is confidence, because cocky for me is believing in something that's totally not true, and they're backing it up. They're first and second every leg, so he's getting a little more confident, and this is usually when you start to falter, is when you get that overconfidence.
I disagree with your definition of cocky versus confident.
Okay.
Because
Ooh.
you can be confident and you can back it up. And I
Mhm.
don't think confidence, when it's backed up, rubs people the wrong way. But cockiness, there's like an arrogant confidence. And it is a naive confidence in that you, like James Earl was just saying, you never know what the race is going to bring.
Mm-hmm.
So being that level of confident and cocky based on previous performances in the leg, or in the previous legs of the race, I don't know. There's fundamentally a difference, and
I 100% agree with you, Jim. Because like I feel like, and I'm not saying this because you're here, but you and Christy were like the definition of just like a confident team. Y'all just like ran your own race, you did your own thing, and you didn't make a big deal about it. Like you all just ran your race.
Okay.
Kind of like Justin did.
Honest opinion, was I
Yeah,
cocky, or
100%
was I
Justin.
cocky, or was I confident?
You're cocky.
Justin, you're cocky, Justin. You're cocky.
That
But
was
let
the
me
whole-
tell you why I
Go
agree
ahead.
with Jen in this episode, and it's kind of something that later happens in the episode, but it's important to point out now, is that when they do falter, Dusty started to crash
Yeah.
Yeah.
and crash hard.
coming
Yeah.
apart.
Yeah.
So
Road-
like
yeah.
that tells me it's more cocky than confident, because when he lost that edge, it immediately went away and went the complete opposite direction.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Ryan is the
Justin,
total opposite.
that's the whole I think it was last season. That's why I said act like you've been there before. That's when you do something and you win something, you almost expect to win, but you don't gloat about it. That's confidence, and that's kind of not what you had on the race. I'm sorry.
I've never been there before. It was me living my dream. When I go back and win every leg of the race, then I'll just go like this. I'll just be like, I told you so.
So was that cocky or was that confident?
That's confidence.
Justin?
There's nobody that could. There's
Cocky.
nobody that could. There's no-
That's cocky, because that's a belief that you are the only one in control of it. And like, unfortunately, it's just not the case. Like, there are just so many variables and so many things that can happen.
Absolutely.
However, I still look forward to the day that you're back on the race
Me too.
with all of us.
Oh, that would be
The
so
dream.
cool.
Can you imagine if all of us went back on the same season? How fun would that be?
It's a possibility. It's definitely a possibility.
Justin can let us know what sequesters all, because we're all going to U-turn them.
Good luck. Again, 10 teams tried, 0 teams succeeded. So
It's only
the
9, but okay.
all right, so Dusty's super cocky. Kim is super calm. It's the new Kim. Akbar and Sherry have a new game plan. They want to be more in sync. How'd that work out for you? Arun and Natalia are ready to come back. No self-drive, so they have a chance. And Dusty has made cheese before, and in bonus footage, he starts naming cheese like he's in Forrest Gump. Kim and Penn leave their packs with the driver before this, and everybody else seems to not do that. They also read again.
They actually talked about that on their recap,
Mhm.
that it was kind of an advantage to be in that second grouping, because they could see the other teams and saw that they were getting back into that same vehicle, so they knew when they got out that they could leave their bags.
Right.
I did write that down, because that is obviously running up those stairs without your bags is going to be
That's pretty big,
a bit easier.
especially in a leg that's very physical demanding.
This was a rough leg.
Yeah, everything was up a hill. No matter what you did, you had to run up a hill. Let's see. Raquel and Kayla are following another team, Kim and Penn. They were going to do a different task, but they saw Kim and Penn, who were reading the bonus footage on their way to picking a task, decide to take the mule rather than the cheese, because they believe the mule is an easier task after reading the bonus, which is okay. Attention to detail. They went in there saying we're not going to work with animals, but they looked at the clues and they felt like this is going to be faster. Raquel and Kayla, not running their own race, say 4 minds are better than 2, and they went and followed it. Like, in my head, how are they 4 minds? They're not going to help you. So I don't know. How do you
They got
Go ahead.
lucky. with that follow. Most of the time, I feel like when you just decide to follow a team, it ends up biting you in the ass. And it worked out for them in this situation. But I would caution against that as a default strategy.
Yes, absolutely. I think you run your own race. If you're following another team, you're not confident in yourself. You're just.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
I don't mind like working with someone when you're at the same task. Like I truly don't mind that. But you can't like follow someone place to place and change what you're doing and change your game plan. That's just asking for trouble.
Yeah, and if you're a team like the mindset I had, racing for first instead of racing to not be eliminated, then you never follow. You lead because you're confident in like, I'm going to lead. Everybody else is going to follow me because I know what I'm doing. So that's the mindset I had. I go in there and like you guys think I'm cocky. I go in like I'm Michael Jordan. I'm LeBron James. I believe I'm the best, and because I believe I'm the best, I'm going to be the best. And that's the only way you could be the best. And that's my mindset. Some other teams are like, I just want to make it to the last three, and that's when I'll turn it on, and that works for some teams. And
Maya.
Yeah. Well, listen, the best teams don't always win the race, and as some people can argue that, but that to me is a fact.
Definitely.
I think more often than not they don't.
Yeah. I believe that wholeheartedly. All right, say cheese.
Statistically, I think that's a fact.
Well, some people say, well, they won, so they're the best team.
Right.
I think only one person in Thai history said that. Well, two if you count Flo.
Well, I don't. Some people believe it. There was an argument on the Amazing Race fans, and people were like, if they won, then they're the best team. Well, no, they won one leg, and it happened to be the last one. Say cheese, mule, please. Again, for me, it's a judge task with an animal. Attention to detail, judge, animal, 0 chance I picked that one right off the bat.
I wouldn't have picked animal. Mom and I had we had a couple major rules, and one of them was like, don't work with live animals.
It's a jackass too. One of the most stubborn animals on earth.
Yeah. I mean, Ari and Stella, like they're out because they had to deal with one. That was a stubborn jackass.
We had
100% I would have picked that jackass.
Really?
I did. I had the same exact task in Greece.
Why? What would make you pick that?
Because again, I haven't seen every season like some of y'all have, but if with animals, especially with jackasses, and not that I'm a farm boy or anything else, but the experience I do have is if you have someone who's calming and a calming effect on an animal and they stay with the animal while you're packing it, that person walks away, that the animal follows them. And Kim and Penn were kind of all over the place. I was shocked Kim didn't get kicked in the face a couple times.
She's like bending down
Penn,
right by.
Yeah. Penn's like jumping underneath it, doing push-ups. It's going to freak out. But when Tara and I were in Greece, we had to set up the exact same thing, 2 milk cans, the whole business. And I was like, Tara, I'll set this thing up. You just scratch. And that damn mule just looked at her. And as soon as she turned around, the mule started following her. And it was easy as pie. And I was leading, but Tara was walking in front. And that didn't matter where I went. That mule was following Tara. And it was so easy. I just didn't. The thing with you've seen all these other cheeses, and it takes so much time. Remember the one where they were shaking the shit out of the thing? And
I will say, I have watched enough HGTV to know that like making cheese it
takes time. And everything's got to be perfect. It could fall. You might have a bad animal. It might drag you all over the place, but it's still going to get you there. And it's never that far. So I mean, remember the one with in Scotland, they had to do the moss, and then one got dragged down the hill a little, but still that was like 10, 20 seconds. Then they got the thing back up and going.
It's knocked out a couple teams. Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't knock out this one because I was in first.
No, you're right. It's knocked out a couple teams, which is why people who study the race don't want to work with animals. But it happened. It was 100% faster than the other task.
Clearly.
But Lulu and Lala made it look pretty easy when they went in there and they got it done. Akbar and Sherry went in there and they got it done, and it didn't take that much longer than the mule task if you did it right.
Dusty and Ryan's mistake was they were sitting there so worried about burning it, like burning some of the milk at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Like screw it, let some of it burn. Like no one's eating this cheese; it just has to make some cheese at the top. Like if there's like remnants in there that's burnt, I just have to get the non-burnt cheese and put it in the cup.
Yeah,
I was shocked that they were messing around with the heat.
Up and down.
Overthinking thing, honestly.
Yes.
Yeah,
like I thought going into this, it was going to be like an inability to follow the directions, but it was just like an overthinking.
Absolutely. So Kim and Penn get out of there first. They nail it. They have one little error, which is just tightening the bottom. Raquel and Kayla had an error. It took them 15 minutes to figure it out, even though it looked a lot faster on TV. It took them 15 minutes to figure out. They just had to turn it upside down. Sometimes when you're staring at it, it looks right. I had the same problem. The one task that I had a problem with was with the meats. All I had to do was just turn it like this, and it was done. And I literally took everything apart and did it again instead of just doing this. And sometimes you get in your own head with those attention to detail. That's not my strong point.
Latigo, by the way, not strap. That's a Latigo.
All right. Well, I'm a Latigo. I
will say for the people at home, like, it's really easy for us to see what the mistakes are because they like zoom in on it.
Yeah.
When you like take a step back and like, you don't know what you don't know, right? They just come up to you and they're like, wrong. And you're like,
Yeah, right.
Cool.
They don't tell you it's wrong.
Yeah. So here's a couple of things that I noticed, and you guys could stop me at any time if there's something you noticed. The Dusty is super high and super low. Ryan is cool, calm, and collected all the time. Never see him too high, never see him low. Dusty wanted to go, but Ryan was like, I think it's smarter to stay. He was wrong, but I think he did that to calm Dusty down. Ryan and Dusty keep messing with the temperature. That's why they lose. That's why it takes them forever. Kim, as soon as she gets there, Penn says, pick a mule. What does the super fan do? She picks the mule
closest to the model.
Closest to the model. Super fan. She understands the game. She picks the one right next to the model, so she just goes like this instead of the other team where you see running back and forth because the biggest mule is the one that's in the way. So they have the biggest mule, so it's kind of blocking other teams, so they can't just look. So they run back and forth, and they just look like this. That is a possible super fan move for the end. We'll see if that makes it. Penn keeps calling the mule a horse. The mule took Kim and Penn 20 minutes. Sherry is an awesome cook. They're super confident. This is when you see Akbar really calm, really zoning because he's confident in his wife's ability to do this. He's just sitting there stirring, trusting them. The people at the cheese task can watch the people at the donkey task, which I felt was really interesting because they were up on the hill. So they were watching them and they see them get the stuff and they're watching them go down and they're just distracted. Ryan and Dusty sitting there like this. They're just distracted, watching them come down. They're like, oh my God, they're done. They're almost done. And then the clue box is right there and you watch everybody pass you. Is that a benefit or is that more of a negative because you see people passing?
Oh, that hit you in your head. That hit you in your head hard.
It amazed me they didn't. Once they saw, because they're very comparable to Kim and Penn, once they saw how fast they did it, they should have just dropped it and went. Because if they did it that fast, then we can, because there was still two other groups there. So we could do this quicker before they get out of here. And that's kind of what shocked the crap out of me.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So there's a picture of the cheese things for the ones that are watching this live. And somebody asked, why would you pick the one closest to the model? Because you only have to just turn your head to look at the model that you need to replicate rather than running back and forth to see.
Yeah, you can literally compare the two pictures.
It's like having something side by side or having something here and you're trying to go like this.
Yeah, for the people at home, like you just walk up and you have like all of this equipment. Like first off, you're just walking up to a donkey. That morning, you didn't know you were going to be setting up like a harness on a donkey. So you walk up and there's just like straps and tools and metal bars and like, it's not set out in a way that makes sense to assemble. It's just like a pile of junk. So you don't know what any of this is. And half the time you're like just picking up a piece and taking it back to the model and being like, what is this?
Remember your plastic horse, James Earl?
I do. Like it's just like the plastic
horse.
So mad.
You were like, Mom! It's dragging this
That was a bad lead for us. If y'all ever want to know what the series of that was, go back and watch the recap.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite James Earl moments. You dragging that horse with the wheels on it.
It's one of my regrets.
Mom and I had a heart-to-heart in the hotel after that lead. I'll tell you that much.
Isn't that what you said on the race, you're not my mom?
Yes. That's after that lead is when I went to her and I was like, listen, we will not make it far. We will be eliminated very quickly if you keep treating me like your son. I was like, I love you and I am your son, but like at this point we just got to race. We just got to be partners and not be race, and we're gonna have to move past this mother-son thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, listen, we struggled. That was the biggest struggle that I had, was the task right before that, and we literally lost in a foot race to the boys because so it was like if I was just a couple seconds here, a couple seconds there. So there's a lot of regrets going on, but not getting eliminated is what it was all about, that leg. So for this task, you're looking at the mule, you're looking at the meats, sorry, you're looking at the mule, you're looking at the cheese, and Ryan and Dusty watch everybody pass them, wait 62 minutes before they switch. The switching at that time, the right thing to do. They didn't have any baskets. I mean,
I feel like when Akbar and Sherry jump up and finish the task, like if you're Dusty and Ryan, you switch.
Yeah. Especially when you got nothing done and you see everybody get 3 baskets over and over again. And they actually had to push the damn car up the hill because the car couldn't bring their beefcake ass up the hill. So they were pushing it halfway to get some momentum. So they were having a really rough leg. All right, let's get to the roadblock. Let's get to the roadblock. What was the roadblock here? All right, next topic. Would you move? All right. So the roadblock is who wants to make a splash? Who wants to make a splash? And this sounds like a swimming challenge. Sounds like maybe a possible, maybe dunking type of challenge. Like, oh man, my pictures are fucking up. That's why. So the roadblock. Kim said that she's the swimmer of the group, but she just jumped off a thing, and they didn't see any oceans or lakes around, so she thought it was something different. So Penn did it. And I think it was a great move for her, Penn. This one looks super fun to do. Like
I would have loved to do this.
Awesome.
Yes, something that I would want to do if I ever really get a chance to go back and do something like this. It's definitely something I want to do.
Yeah, totally.
It's something we did in the Boy Scouts, and that was the last time I did it. So that was 25, 30 years ago. And it's something that does take a little skill. There's some fear involved. There's action, there's adrenaline, there's a lot of fun aspects of it.
Stamina, a lot of stamina for that too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure some people will tell you the stamina involved in that one, and we'll get to that in a second. So it's Akbar, Arun, Penn, Lulu, Raquel, and Ryan get to do this one. So all right, so what did you think? I had one problem with this leg. Just one problem with this one. I'll let you guys talk about it a little bit before I get into it. How did you guys think about this roadblock as a roadblock?
It's a really cool roadblock. I feel like the clue wasn't hidden that hard. Like it slapped you in the face as you were sliding down, essentially. But the thing I didn't quite understand was who did it was Lulu that did the roadblock, not Lala, Lulu.
Does it matter?
What was Lulu's getting angry at Raquel for? Like that made no sense in my head. Like, did she really think they were going to hold hands to the end?
Yeah, that was creep. That was weird.
Okay.
I didn't understand that.
Yeah, my issue with like you said, Justin, with the clues, it would have been cool if one of those jump off points they had the clues hanging, so they had to grab them, and if they missed it, they had to climb back up.
Exactly what I was thinking.
One of the things I noticed was Akbar's boots.
Oh my God! Yes.
He had these giant open boots.
Yeah.
Which, if he laced them up, tightened them, that would have been great. But in the next thing, he's got running shoes on. Why didn't you put the running shoes on for the leg or something light? Those things must have been, I couldn't even imagine how much.
He also didn't have his wetsuit fully zipped up. And if you have ever been in water in a wetsuit when it is not fully zipped up, water just gets in there. And then you just have this like extra weight and extra resistance. So yeah, he definitely like the outfit, the setup there.
That's when you don't rush to get to something. Take your time, set yourself up, and then you blow through it.
Yeah.
Just like James Earl, we were talking about. Was it Ryan putting his wetsuit on earlier before we went on the air?
Pretty sure he was naked under that thing.
He might have been naked under
there.
there. He looked a little bollocky. I think he was a little bollocky there. Yeah.
I didn't have any problems with like the roadblock was super cool. I agree they could have done something with the clue to make it a little bit like harder, because it really for the most part was like just go through and do this pretty straightforward thing. Even though it was epic, I would love to do it myself. But my struggle is exactly the same as what I was saying last week. I just feel like there is a cognitive element of challenges that is missing from this season. And Agreed. I'm like, when is it going to happen? And if Dusty and Ryan have to face a puzzle for the first time in the finale, like, I don't know how
I'm curious.
Go.
I'm very curious on that one.
Great point,
it is a very physical race right now, which I don't love.
I don't love
mainly
it.
because like like me and mom weren't the physical team. Like we're not a physical threat. Like we used kind of mom used her personality to help us get information from locals. I used the brain. Like that's how it succeeded. And we still struggled at times, but like, I think if you put us in this lead, we're not going to beat Dusty and Ryan in this lead. We're just not.
Yeah.
Yeah. The two big problems with this, I wish the clue was somewhere harder to find so that was part of the task rather than it just being pretty linear. And for it to be a very linear, there was a couple people got passed, which is normally not something that happens in a linear leg. So,
but they got passed because they were just physically stronger people.
Right. But
well, no, I disagree with that. I don't think they were physically stronger because Arun is not physically stronger, I don't think, than Akbar. It's just Akbar is just not physically strong, period. Like he's out of shape.
Arun's in better shape.
Yeah. Akbar was in Akbar was in terrible shape. And I got into social media fights about this. Like, sorry, they're incredible humans. They're terrible races. I understand that they worked a lot and they do a lot for the community. I love that. I respect that. But there's a million ways to lose weight. You could do intermittent fasting, which is literally doing nothing. It's doing nothing for 12 to 16, 14 hours a day. That's all you have to do is nothing. And you lose weight. It's literally, that's it. Don't eat.
I'm great at that.
It's like, so you could do that and lose weight. Like you could, he's a principal at school. Walk up and down the stairs, walk down the hallways. Like, it doesn't matter. Do calf raises, do leg lifts, walk in place. Like there's a million ways to do things while you're working. And if you work 12 hours a day, you work 14 hours a day, you sleep 8 hours a day, there's still hours left to do it. Like if you make it a priority, anybody on earth can lose weight. Anybody on earth can get in shape in 6 weeks. There's no excuse.
You also had a goal in mind, right? So like, I get that fitness isn't a priority for everybody. It's just not. But like when you're going back on the Amazing Race, you've already done it once, you're going back, you know how much you have to be in shape because you're carrying at minimum 20 pounds on your back. And that's someone who packed light, right? So like, you're going to be toting that around half the country or half the world, Jesus. So like, what you're getting into. So be prepared.
Yeah. That's my biggest take. Cause there are so many people who've been on the race. And I think more people who've been on the race have been out of shape than have been in shape, especially at the beginning. But you went on race, you did a couple legs, you sucked at it, and then you left, and then you had a considerable amount of time to fix yourself, and you didn't. That's my issue as well.
All right, so the girl, you said that you don't understand. The girls agreed to work together, so they worked together, and then after they got the clues and got to the bottom, Raquel dusted Lulu, and Lulu.
Yeah, but I don't understand why Lulu's mad.
Work together through. Like the unspoken rule is if you agree to work together, you're like working together to get through the challenge.
Yeah. Not waiting.
Challenge over.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of there.
I'm right there with you.
So I don't get it either.
I'm right there with you. I just say Lulu made a bad call in that situation. My whole thing is I'm not going to align myself and do a task with someone that I can't beat in a foot race later. Like I'm not going to help them.
Yeah, that's
if
super
I can't beat
smart.
you in a foot race, I cannot work with you.
That is super smart as well. And Akbar is just cruising. I know he's got, he's out of shape. He's a basketball player, so he's probably got some weak knees. That's cool, but you're literally just walking, all right? And you get dusted by Arun passes him. Ryan is super like, dude, I'm gonna go as fast as you can go. So you run, I'll run. He tells his guy, let's go, and he's nonstop. He passes him, and for me, again, he was an athlete. He was a quality athlete 20 years ago, collegiate athlete. He understands that he lost his fire. He has zero fire. Because if there's no way that adrenaline shot does not give you a little bit of energy to just move faster, I don't care the pain. Adrenaline pushes through pain. You feel the pain after the adrenaline stops. And I didn't even see him get an adrenaline rush. He's just like,
Well, this is what I said weeks ago. Like the fire isn't there. Like the fire to win, they don't have. And I'm not faulting them as people, and I want everyone to understand. I do agree with you, Justin. I think there are wonderful people outside of this, but in
100%.
the bubble that is the Amazing Race, I don't think they had the fire to make it through. I think in any other season where like all of this COVID shenanigans had to happen, they wouldn't have lasted this long. Absolutely. They would not have made 6th place.
I agree.
Yeah, 100%. Now Brian, cool, calm, and collected, knows what he's doing. And the coolest thing that you'll see here is Sherry when Akbar comes in. Akbar comes in and she does not say one negative word to him.
Yeah.
She supports him. Are you okay, boo? Can I get you some water? Not one negative vibe sent his way. And that's why their marriage works. Like, one is super intense and the other one is very supportive and can tell you to shut the F up when she needs to. Like, she's not some like snowflake. She can dish it out, but she understands what her man needs and how to get him back. And he needs to do a better job at understanding how to get her into the right state of mind. And I
also think the person that's not doing the roadblock, after the roadblock's done, good, bad, whatever, that's all you do. You just sit there and say, like, good job, you did it, we got it. Because the net sled, it may be you, it may be flipped.
Yeah.
That's right. You have snacks ready, you have water ready, you have the backpacks ready to go.
Yeah.
And I'm carrying both.
What do you need right now? What do you need? Like, it's done. Whatever happened. It's done, and you got to keep racing. So yeah, I completely agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Same.
Dusty's dad passed away a few months before the race, and he says he channels him. He talks to him before every leg or every task on the race, which I don't know if they showed that in the regular thing or in the bonus footage, but that's a nice little touching side where you get to see Dusty, really feeling some emotion other than that, like, woohoo. All right, so let's get to some kayaking to the pit stop, shall we? All right, kayaking. Fun fact, I used to teach kayaking, canoeing, rowing, small boat sailing. That was part of my job. In the summer, I was a Boy Scout camp counselor. Kim and Penn talked about this on their show. This is the one time I got into a fight on the race. So, how to paddle a kayak. When there's two people involved, it's not that difficult. A two-person kayak is bigger and wider than a normal kayak. The person in the back is the one that's steering. The person in the front actually doesn't have to do anything. If the person in the back can do it, it works fine. If the person in the front is doing it by themselves, it's super hard to control. But the person in the back, if it's two people, you just watch the person in the front and you do exactly what they do. That's it. You do exactly what they do. There's no left, right. There's no screaming. There's no nothing. Doesn't have to be in sync. You don't have to turn around. When the person on the front is going left, you go left. The person in the front is going right, you go right. That's it. And if the boat is swerving, then you leave the oar in the water and you turn it like this. That's it. It's super simple to do, but not one person on this task actually understood how to work a two-person kayak.
It looked like Ryan and Dusty carried the kayak up the river. It almost looked like they were just.
You will. It is so funny because we had kayaking in our finale, and I think Christy and I were the only ones that had kayaked before, and it's really funny how bad you can be at kayaking.
Yeah. And if Kim and Penn are watching this, you were both right in a certain aspect. Okay, there was one way and one of you were right, and one way one of you was right, but you were both wrong as well. Because Kim thought you had to do opposites, and Penn was right about that. But Penn, you were laying down like this, and your paddle was turned. So every time you put your paddle in the water, you J-stroked. But go ahead. You
saw that he got a hernia.
Yes, he lives with a hernia. For those who don't know, he lives with a hernia. It says. He said, yeah, if he could, his doctor told him to get surgery, and then he'd be down for 3-something months, and he could for whatever. They do a lot of work for people who don't understand what YouTubers do. They also run a marketing agency, so he would literally have to stop for 3 months, and that would be their job.
Keep pushing it back in.
His credit.
He's doctor good.
Freaking kayak makes one stroke and his freaking intestines pop through his abdomen wall. For those of you that don't know what a hernia is.
Yeah, we got a doctor.
So he's laying
How
back
did I miss this?
to poke it back in through his freaking abs. Meanwhile, Kim's still trying to keep him going. He's like, I have a hernia. She's like, okay, are you paddling? Okay, we got to go.
That's right. So, Doc, what do you think? Is that something that you can power through? Is that really painful? Is it just discomforting? Is it
so as long as it's not like strangled in there, you can just keep pushing it back in. People come to the ER all the time, and I literally just push it back in. I'm like, okay, bye.
just sounds so bad.
$1,600.
I mean, but then, like, y'all forget, like, this is just my world. That's a daily thing for me.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So if you did watch our season as well, I hate to keep bringing it up, but the boys, the big muscle-bound, meaty, 6'3" muscled Texans were right behind us in the canoe, and they couldn't catch us, and they didn't understand why they couldn't catch us. It's because me and Diana both know how to paddle a canoe, and they were just trying to muscle it. It's technique is better than muscle when it comes to these type of tasks. And if you're ever rowing or canoeing or paddling upstream, you stay closest to the shore because that's where the current is weaker. If you in the middle, the current is the strongest. So all these little things can be a big advantage. And it seems from next week's that you'll see it's a disadvantage for teams that don't understand how to work a kayak.
If you were kayaking in Norway like Tara and I were, you'd really have you'd really understand what true kayaking is actually like, Justin.
Well, you know.
I will say I'm glad they added this task after the roadblock, because I do feel like the roadblock was a little too linear. It was. So
Yeah.
I'd like that they added something else to kind of help some teams.
And it did allow one team to pass, to get past, because Lulu and Lala, the number one thing.
Didn't read the clue.
If you don't learn anything from this show, read the clue. Don't read it once, read it twice, and read the extra notes before you do anything.
Less forgiving of this particular situation, Justin, is because you were sitting in a car.
Yes.
Doing nothing else
To get there.
Like like in that situation, when I was in the taxi, I was like reading over the extra clues, circling stuff, underlying stuff. It's a very stretch of a maybe I'll give you a little pass if like you're having to run directly to Phil and do something there and you're like you're stressed. Maybe I'll give you a pass, but I still feel like taking the 30 seconds just slow down and read every word on that piece of paper is a game changer.
100%. And if they would have got in the kayak and actually started paddling, that's it. They might have got eliminated because Akbar and Sherry weren't that far behind. Like
I didn't think of that. Wow.
If they got in there with their packs and they like started, and they would have not read the clue until they got there, which means they would have had to paddle all the way back and then, dump their stuff off and then do it all over again. And I think that they could have got eliminated if they didn't notice that. Like if another team wasn't there and they saw that the other team didn't have their pack, like
Right.
That would have been a 45-minute penalty, right?
If they didn't go back. But right. So I don't
lost.
But I think either way you would be gone.
Yeah. So I don't know if they check, because if they go to check in, then it's a penalty for not doing it. They may not have let them go back.
They may not let you go back at that point.
Right.
Ooh. So yeah, they would have definitely lost.
That's what happened in Panama. So we got a 45-minute penalty for doing something. I can't remember what it was. I think it was the long hair don't care at the very beginning.
How long was your penalty, James Earl?
Seeing as you're the only one who got a penalty. Go ahead.
No, Justin and Diana got a long ass penalty.
We got a 55-minute penalty because of the time advantage we gained by taking the wrong ferry.
You were crying again.
Ours was 30 minutes.
30 minutes. So it was at least 30 minutes for a penalty. So 30 minutes plus the time advantage, which would probably be another 15 minutes. I don't know, 10 minutes. So yeah, they would have definitely been gone. Let's see. Yeah, other than that, that's all I got for that. And we get to the pit stop, and it's at the dam. I think it was about a half a mile up the river that they had to paddle, which is not too bad at all, especially in a kayak. $5,000 each, Kim and Penn. Then that's followed by Raquel and Kayla, because they beasted past Lulu and Lala. And then a super excited, adrenaline pumping Dusty comes in, and with just Raquel and Kayla on the mat, and it just, what do you do now? Gotcha. Like I mean, it's not even your rival team. Like I don't know. Like I mean, if there's everybody there and you're trying to let them know, okay, but there was really no reason for them to be that pumped at the mat. Like
that was a lot of emotions for middle of the pack.
Yeah, it's super extra. I mean,
if we're trying to get in that mindset, then I mean, they came back from the brink of death. They thought that they were eliminated. They have never been behind like anyone ever in this entire race.
Yeah.
And so it was a little I thought it was hilarious and it was a little over the top and ridiculous, but
I
guess
think
that's where
Raquel
they're
and Kaylin's response was more hilarious.
oh my God. It was so fun. Kayla's facial expressions are just.
And I had photos of it too, but they're not working. Oh, and if you watch the bonus footage, Lulu is like, when she's talking about Raquel passing her, she's like, bitch! And I have a screenshot of that on the screen now. But then Lulu and Lala have their bags, and let's show Ryan and Dusty. Here's Ryan and Dusty's incredible bodies. Like, Dusty has got this like perfect like square shoulders, like 8-pack abs. They both got incredible bodies, and so
reminds me of myself, I might add.
Maybe when you were 20, but we never knew that, Joey.
Take your shirt off, Joey. Prove it.
No, that's fine.
Go ahead, let's see dad bod. Get it on. All right, so
it is off.
Ryan and Dusty still have an impressive average of 1.66. Kim and Pan are at a 2.5, and the next closest is Raquel and Kayla with a 3.6. Super impressive, by the way.
Yeah.
I still feel like averages are a little off this season because
it's just skewed. It's just, I mean,
and it's not to the fault of the racers.
No, not at all.
But two teams, I mean, we love, there was.
Yeah, say it, Jen. Say it. Say it.
There's less teams to compete against.
There's fewer teams to compete against, and some very weak teams came back.
Definitely.
Again, I still stand by Akbar and Cherie on any other season would not be the 6th place finisher.
No.
Akbar and Cherie are the same place as Josh and Tanner from our season.
Yeah, that doesn't equal out. That doesn't equal out for us.
and Chris and Trevor from our season.
Yeah,
right.
Super Jack. Like it doesn't make sense. So let's give some awards away here. My super fan move is going. It's already going to Kim. Like picking the model, the donkey closest to the model.
Can't, no, you've got every week it's been her. Pick someone else.
Who else? Tell me something else that somebody did.
Except week one. I don't know. Get out of your comfort zone for a second.
It's not a comfort zone. Somebody do something that's impressive, that actually makes sense. That's a super fan move. She's the only super fan on the race. What do you want me to do?
Sherry can make cheese.
Who?
Sherry can make cheese.
She didn't study that. That just happens to be a talent she has.
I mean,
I'm reaching for them.
That was the only super.
There was a super fan move. It was smart, super smart. Like that's what you do. That's what super fans do. That gain a 5 or 10 minute advantage over other teams, and that's the whole point of a super fan move.
Just trying to play devil's advocate.
You can play with yourself.
I do that too. Maybe extra.
All right, seal clap. Let's get it, James Earl. Since we missed it last week.
Did I tell y'all my seal clap on the air?
Yes, you did. Yeah, you said in the beginning of the show.
I did. Yeah. My seal clap for this week is actually going to how precious Arun is on the mat when he's like looking Phil in the eyes. Saying, I told you I wasn't going to be last. Like that meant a lot to him because like it's hard when you're in the back of the pack. It is, and to claw back just a little bit, it means a lot. And I was so happy for him.
Oh, Will and James are here. What's up, Will and James? How you guys doing?
We've been chatting up for the past 20 minutes with them.
I've been having technical issues, so I've been
pay a little more attention to your fans in the chat.
I got co-hosts to help with that stuff. You guys can't help with the technical stuff.
No, we're doing it. They love James Earl like everybody else.
So he said that Cherie and Akbar read the clue and never changed the cheese temperature. I wouldn't call that a super fan move. That they just know how to cook.
Oh, yeah, he works in the food industry or something.
I mean, she's a cook. That's what she does in the extra time that they cook for like thousands of people in their community. That's one of the reasons they're like angels. They're like incredible humans in real life, but just terrible racers. There's nothing in those two that you can be both. You could be terrible racers and incredible humans. There's plenty of those that we've had.
I'm a terrible human and an incredible racer.
Well.
I mean, one of those are true.
Yeah. All right, Joey. Let's talk about Joey hates love or the love advice, relationship advice.
It goes straight with the biggest hug ever to Sherry, because, like you said, Justin, she accepted where she was. She hoped against not that it wasn't like that, but she knew they were struggling. She knew other people passed them, but if the roles were reversed there, I don't think the outcome would have been the same. And you are 100% right. That's the way their relationship works. And I think she's an incredible human being, because she did come on this race knowing her shortcomings or however you want to say it. And she tried her absolute best She hit a lot of challenges. And in the end, she knows, this is my husband. This is my man. We're in a partnership. He did his best, and that's the best we can hope for. God bless you, Sherry Nakba. I loved watching you. You were great. You could have been a lot better, but I mean, that's beside the point. Seriously though, it was very, very precious to see those true feelings at the end for her.
And you could say whatever you want about them. They've been together for 20 years. There's not many people. There's not many humans relationships on Earth that last 20 years. Even ones that are super great and they look like they work together. Like 20 years doing anything is impressive.
I want them to come over and have a couple beers by the fire pit. Leave your big ass boots home though, Akbar. Those are ridiculous. Wear your running shoes. Jerry can cook us up some stuff. It'll be great.
If I can include bonus footage in the Superfan move, I'd give it to Kim again because they brought water shoes. They were the only team that actually changed their shoes to water shoes. So everybody else literally had wet shoes for the rest of the leg, and they changed in water shoes, and they changed into sneakers and were able to run after that. So that's another Superfan move. I don't know if I would have
wore water shoes in there though because of all the rocks. You had to break an ankle in there.
That's what they made.
I actually bought. When I raced, I brought waterproof or water resistant North Faces.
That's what I had. Same ones I had.
yeah. Those are great. They dried out in seconds.
I'm about to say, Justin, you act like you can't run in wet shoes. Every single team in Poland had wet shoes and was running around. Like, you can do it.
Yes. There's also there's tricks for how to dry your shoes because we had to dry our shoes
in the hotel room.
Christy had to get the freaking clue out of that fountain in Washington Square Park.
Yeah.
On our very first leg, and we get to the airport, and she's like, "My freaking shoes are soaking wet." And we went into the bathroom and found a hand dryer and just held her shoes under there for a while.
We had two pairs, so. Fine. While everybody else had wet shoes.
I brought flip-flops as my second pair of shoes because my feet get claustrophobic and I needed them to be able to breathe in between legs. Not running the race.
All right, Jen, what do you got for? Let's give out some awards here.
Okay, well, we were like 3/4 of the way through this episode, and I was like, I haven't laughed out loud yet. I might have to give a love out loud this time, and I was like, feeling Sherry and appreciating her response, and I'm sure he thought he was doing his best, and I'm not going to be the one who tells him he wasn't, and how supportive she was of Akbar. But then we had this magical moment at the mat where Raquel and Kayla are standing there, and Ryan and Dusty come running in and hulking their life vests off. And the freaking Raquel and Kayla's faces, they're getting my LOL. And they're just their commentary and kind of razzing them about the whole thing, and saying they just want to show off their muscles. It made me chuckle. I was really glad they left that all in there because
that was good.
I'm not gonna lie, if I looked like that, I would have had my shirt off a lot more during our season, 100%.
Yeah, it was funny when Dustin was just talking. He was just going,
It's like 8-pack flex, 8-pack flex, 8-pack flex. It's like,
and then Dusty looked at him and goes, "Oh, he's doing that. I'm doing it too."
Yeah, Ryan's got a better chest, but Dusty's got the better abs.
Did you guys notice the little necklace things that they were wearing?
Yes, the two of them.
Is that some new mic kind of thing?
Ooh, maybe it could be a water mic. It could be a water mic.
Yeah, because they didn't have the chest strap thing on.
They did that to us a couple times in our season for water events.
Okay.
But ours was a lot bigger than that little one. I think it looked more like a long straight one. But yeah, they give us a water mic, so I think that's what it was. Good eye.
So any future racer, when they start changing your mic out, water's coming.
Getting wet.
Yeah, water's coming. The inside of stuff you don't get anywhere else. You don't get this at anywhere else. Little things make a difference.
I remember saying to the sound guy, going, "Hey, what's the condoms for?" They're like, "Oh, don't worry."
Yeah. Yeah, if they bust out a condom, they're not trying to do anything rude. There's something different's coming. All right, let's talk a little bit about some bonus footage here.
Real quick, can I say one thing that I want to talk
absolutely
about?
Get it.
Raquel and Kayla are getting really off balance with roadblocks, by the way. They're 4-1.
Yes. Kayla's only done one roadblock.
Kayla's only done one roadblock.
There is no
for tracking this. I didn't realize that.
I wasn't really tracking it because it doesn't count this season.
Shut up.
Wait.
What do you mean?
You have to. You have to do
There's only 10 legs.
Wait, what?
But
Yeah, but how
still,
many-
you shouldn't be able to do more than 6, even with 10 legs.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that they're not counting it this season. I'm pretty sure I
No.
heard that in
That's
somewhere.
shenanigans.
If
I call
that's true,
shenanigans.
I veto this season.
But everybody
That is
else is even except them right now.
Yeah, because ours got out of balance too. Like I think Cody had 7 and Jess had 4, and there was some like weird verbiage in our rules where
Your season was set up for them to make it to the finals. 100%. Nobody can convince me of otherwise. They wanted that team to in the finals because of how popular they were.
I just don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that.
Yeah, but I won't say
you're
anything.
a team. You race as a team.
Yeah.
They changed that rule early on for a good reason because
Yep.
you need to see the dynamic and the balance of a team, and you need to win as a team, not as an individual. So I really hope that's not true.
Okay,
Only time will
there's
tell.
people in chat saying it counts, but it got reset at leg 4.
Okay, but we're at leg 6 now. We're halfway through the race, and there's been no U-turns. That's my
Correct. And I almost went crazy on social when the Wikipedia page said that there was an unaired U-turn because nobody used it. I was like, wait a second, Ryan and Dusty are in last place and they could have made them go back and do the cheese? Like, are you kidding me? They would have 100% gone home and everybody should have definitely used it. But that was wrong. It was Akbar, Arun and Kim both said there was no U-turn this leg.
Okay.
But I would have been ballistic if you don't. There was like,
Oh, you 100% take that shot. Just we were taking that shot on you if that had happened. Like,
absolutely. We
shot.
100% expected to be U-turned. It's just like, is it going to be 2 teams ahead of us, or can we just U-turn somebody else and beat them? That was like, if we get U-turned, we weren't that upset unless 2 teams were able to block the board on us. All right, so in the bonus footage, Lulu and Lala are not going to the mat. Everybody's on the mat talking to Phil, and they're walking up a hill. They're going away from the mat up the hill. And Phil's like, wait, where you going? Come on. And they're still walking away. And he's like, how big does the mat have to be? How big does the crowd have to be? The mat's right here. And they were just walking somewhere else. I have no idea where they were going.
They really wanted to get back to those backpacks.
One of the coolest...
if that was me and Tara, they would have went, hi, everybody, hi.
And one of the coolest things that they didn't show, which I'm sure they'll show in the beginning of the next episode, is they wound up camping right there on the water. That's where they slept.
Awesome.
They slept right by the water that night.
Is that awesome? Because you're gonna be real gross at the start of next leg.
We did that in Norway. We camped right there by the river in Norway.
It's a beautiful fresh water.
Paris, and we were real gross. By the time we showered in the Netherlands, we were real
Oh my
gross.
God, that was the worst we felt.
It's amazing race, James Earl. Jesus Christ, it's not a scrub room. Come on, will you?
You're supposed to get dirty.
You're supposed to.
There's a difference between dirty and filthy. Justin knows how dirty we were at the end of that. We started in Africa, and 5 days later, we finally got a shower.
5, yeah. And I literally, that's the first time we took money and spent it on something that wasn't on the race. We went to a hostel and paid for a hostel just to use the shower.
Really?
Yeah, we had like 3 hours before anybody showed up, so we needed to do something. But we went and got to the hostel. We took a shower, and we were like, "You want to take a nap?" We were like, "No, we'll just go see the city." But we took a shower. We felt incredible after the shower. I'll tell you, it's a literal feeling. It's like a switch flicked. When we took a shower and came out, we felt 100 times better. I was in the shittiest mood. I was the whole race in the Netherlands because
it was gross. I'm telling you, by the time we got there, it was gross. I literally remember getting into the hotel after leg 7 in the Netherlands. I literally just stepped into the shower, fully clothed, full shoes. Like I just stepped into the shower.
Ugh. All right, so
in Africa.
Penn speaks French, so that could come in handy next leg because they're still going to be in France. Penn's living with a hernia. Kim and Penn, the first fight on their race. After watching their podcast, they were both right. I wrote that down.
Jen, go ahead. Jen has a question.
I need to talk about this fight.
Well, argument.
Like, this is their fight?
Yeah.
I have to change my fighting standard. I love it. They're like slightly have a bickering.
They disagree. That was a disagreement.
Disagreement.
Yeah. Even if you watch their podcast, they listen, here you go. Here it is. Here's the plug. Everybody fights, so why not get better at it?
Thing. I need to know that they're like Colin and Christy, where they used to fight.
At some point in their life, right?
Because how can we take advice about fighting from people who fight like not a fight? Like it's not a fight.
Yeah.
Like
so
Robin knows
they actually have fought. previously, and this is what they've learned, and the advice that they share in their book is how to have fights that look like that, because that was amazing.
I can't wait to read this. I really can't. I downloaded it for Diana's Kindle, so she has a copy as well, so we could both read
you
it.
better get the books on tape because you can't read for shit.
Yeah, math is my thing. Reading is. All right, so Dusty looks psychotic before the race. I don't know if, and he's talking mad junk. And he says, if any team tries to U-turn me, I'm coming for blood. Like he's on the mat, like trying to psych them out because everybody expects there to be a U-turn, and the other teams say that he has this like psychotic look in his eyes, and he literally said, if any team tries to U-turn me, I'm coming for blood. Like he's trying to physically intimidate teams before the leg starts. So he's turning a switch here.
No, it just means he's going to blow by him and then start and U-turn everyone, even if he didn't want the, even if he didn't need to.
If he got U-turned here, they're going home. If they get U-turned here, they're going home. There's nothing you can do about it.
But James Hill touched on this earlier.
I don't know about that.
They would have had to go back and do the cheese.
He's really up and down, and it really showed in this leg. And I don't know if it was there before, but he's just always been ahead, so we haven't noticed it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that it sounds like there's just some weird, like he's just got a lot of testosterone flowing or something, and it's destabilizing him a little bit.
I mean, I've always stand by you really figure out what kind of racer you are when you're at the back of the pack. It's really easy when you're 1 and 2 to just like be bopping along, having fun. When your feet are against the fire, when you're like last or next to last, and you're trying to just claw for life, that's really when you're like show your true racing skills, good or bad.
Yep. Just watch the Vietnam Legacy season 29.
So another stuff in the bonus footage, the roads are super sketchy. That's why they had to do it. Lulu and Lala fall in love with their cab driver, Tomas. They try to flirt with him, but this could have been a Superfan move if this aired. So the clue said, get to know your cab driver, right? Part of the clue said, get to know your cab driver. And they were asking him all sorts of questions. Are you right-handed? Are you left-handed? What's your mother's name? What color are your eyes? Like, do you have tattoos? Like, they were writing down all of this information about their cab driver, which I thought was like, I didn't know that they had that level of like, okay, a little bit of bonus like super fan in them. So but
if they were super fans, don't you think they would have said, well, why don't you tell me about yourself? Because then he would have offered exactly up what it is they would.
They didn't speak the same language, so they were having a tough time. Like he was, he didn't speak great English, so they were asking like trying to get 1 or 2 word answers from him. They're like, what is your mother's name?
He would have given them something.
Maybe.
Like, maybe he would have given them a France book. What do you call a book?
A translation book?
Translation book, yeah. France book.
France book.
I'm wicked smart, James.
I'm wicked smart. Look at me, Mom. I'm wicked smart. All right, let's see. Next week on the show, we see another problem with Ryan and Dusty and a kayak. This one is one of those see-through bottom kayaks, and they got the paddle is not as good as the paddles they had with this kayak. So it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out. They sink. And again, I think it's in France because they're doing that maggot cheese thing, and I think that's French as well.
That looked awful.
I don't know if we would get Christy. I don't know if she could do that. I think
Diana 100% couldn't. She said that
mom couldn't. If you wanted to see some great TV, make my mom eat that. Oh, it would have been hilarious.
Yeah. So Arun just texted me. He said we did have to even out the roadblocks, but it started on leg 4. So
so it's restarted when they came back.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to look at the numbers then. They may be balanced.
Listening, but he's not in the chat.
Yeah. He probably doesn't.
You big pant load. Come on, get in the chat and say hi to everybody.
He might be watching on Facebook. I don't know. Like that, it's broadcasting on Facebook. I'm not really paying attention to those Facebook.
He's hiding in his closet so the CBS cops don't come and get him.
Probably. Those CBS people. The damn CBS people.
Oh, my goodness.
They hate me. I don't know why.
No, it's me.
They hate me. Oh, it's probably you. All right. So Corsican cheese would have been a problem for Diana. 100%. She was the only thing she said she wouldn't do is eat something nasty. So that would, there's 100% chance that I would have like pulled what is it? Mika.
Austin Rob?
No, Kanan and Mika pushed it down the slide. Like I'd have been like, eat. Like, there's no way we're going home because you don't want to eat cheese. You love cheese, woman. It just has maggots. Maggots have good protein. Like if you watch any of those like Naked and Afraid and Home Alone shows or whatever, like I don't know, right, Joey? You'd have no problems eating maggots, right?
I could eat a maggot or two.
Mhm.
This would have had to have been like me coaching Christy plugging her nose. Like it would have taken a lot of freaking work. That
Take a piece
disgusting. It looks
for
cool.
anyone who hasn't been on the show and you want to be on the show, always have something that smells like cinnamon or something that smells strong, a cough drop, keep in the bottom of your bag. Because if you're gonna eat something disgusting, shut your eyes, jam it up your fucking nose. That's what you're gonna take. That's what you're gonna taste.
That's what you're gonna smell. Anything that you have in your nostrils.
Didn't you do the potato onion science class thing? I know James Earl did.
Yes.
I mean, you put a potato under your nose and you bite into an onion, you think you're eating a potato.
We had
well, to get you on a little medical, I won't give you all details, but if we're doing anything gross, what we do is we put a mask on and put peppermint drops in the mask because it's the same thing.
See,
right?
We had
if,
Vicks.
If you get the peppermint into your nose, nothing in the room matters.
We brought Vicks for that reason.
Like a dead body, you mean, James Earl?
Listen, this is a PG to PG-13 rating. Sometimes my work gets gross.
There was no speed bump for those asking. The speed bump was them starting last. Because so as you could see in the next episode, there's going to be only two groups
Which I hate,
starting
that was
groups.
an advantage. You'll never convince me that was not an advantage.
Yeah. So that I was upset there was no speed bump.
Because they finished 2 hours behind the other teams.
But let's just talk through this for a second.
Okay.
Okay. So they finished their last leg of the race. And in a normal season, then the start of the leg would be getting on an airplane. And then they would get held at the door of the airport.
Yeah.
Everybody would be together. And then they would say go. And then they have zero difference from the first place team.
Traveling to and from, and then doing a task. 15 minutes?
I hear you, Jen. I'm being bitter Betty over here because
I don't disagree. I like they are saved because of the nature, but like leads get nullified in recent seasons of the race.
It is fair.
And
it's fair.
It is annoying. I was annoyed by it. Christy and I think there was only going to Prague did we ever get to maintain like a lead.
Yeah, you ain't got to tell me. There was one leg we got to maintain a lead, and that was because there was an error on a phone.
That error, jeez. Jen, did you know that Justin and Diana finished a leg in a country before any other team even got there because of an app error?
Yeah,
that's wild.
Yeah, and we didn't know. We didn't have any clue, so we were still doing everything. We were powering through everything just like we would every other task, and it was like one of the physically.
We were literally in the other country,
and they were still in another country.
Oh my gosh!
It worked for us, but then after a certain time, it didn't work. Oh well. All right. So next week, let's see. Is there any other questions? Anybody's got questions, comments, concerns on Facebook? I think Arun and Natalia answered all of the questions that people had on Facebook because they're very active, which I really appreciate about them. We're back in France. I don't know the city. I don't know. I know they're going to start right there, right where they slapped it. That's where they're starting from. So I'm probably going to be in the same city, since it's an island. So I'm not 100% sure, but they are in France. They're going to be doing more kayaking, eating some nasty stuff. Ryan and Dusty are potentially in trouble, which I'd like to see, because I'm hoping that this next leg has a U-turn. And if they're in trouble on one part of it, then this could be what sends them home, which I think if they go home will really make this a very interesting season. Do you think that will change your opinion about the teams?
No.
Without Ryan and Dusty? You think it's just going to be a blowout for Kim and Penn? Or do you think...
Yes.
I think Kim and Penn are going to win.
Well, I do too.
I think Ryan and Dusty are going to win because there's going to be some sort of challenge that their brains will not allow them.
Especially the final challenges.
Agreed. And they even comment on this episode, like if they can just do the physical, then they can eat. But I think if you get them really challenged on something that is not physical and has like a very hard mental challenge to it, they may surprise us. But that is not their wheelhouse. And that is their self-admission.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. I think they'll have no problem eating nasty stuff, especially, Ryan. I mean, if you ask him, like he'll tell you some of the stuff he's eaten in prison. One of the things they made is like these saltine, I don't even want to get into it, but I'm sure he'd have no problem on this eating challenge. Some of the teams I think are going to struggle with that, but the physical challenge, which they should normally beast, this physical challenge is going to have a skill that they don't have. So I'm very interested to see. And I think the season will take a big turn if they are out of it.
They seem to be more like brute force guys,
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily like skilled, like they didn't know how to row a boat. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, so we'll see. Anything else for you guys? Anything else you guys got going on? Anything you want to promote before we get on out of here?
Nope.
All right.
Someone in the chat asked if we think Ryan and Dusty have similarities to the Cowboys.
No.
They're guys.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think the Cowboys. I
stops.
don't think the Cowboys are ever looked at as like a physically like dominating team. I think they were extremely likable. I mean, they're both professional athletes. So for those people who I only like regular people, but the Cowboys are my favorite team. They're both professional athletes who are rich, who don't need the money. One owns a damn cattle ranch. But they're extremely likable, and they're good at getting from point A to B, which is the hardest part of the race. Some of the challenges they struggled with, but getting from point A to point B is the hardest part of the race, and they were really good at that. So no, I don't compare them to, at least in my eyes. All right, I love you guys, James Earl, Jen, Joey. I really appreciate you guys sticking with me this season. It means a lot, and each and every one of you. I know time is the most valuable thing that you have. If you spend any of it here with us, it means the world to me. I'm a super fan like you guys. I'm extremely passionate, and I love this show, and I love what I do. And although I definitely don't do it for the money, I do it because I don't have anybody else to talk about The Amazing Race with. No. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.